Hello, welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and Thunderkin to that 6+++ show. I'm your host, very lowest of men, Tom of 6++, here with some nerds, and we're talking about things we'd like to see in 11th edition tonight. So I'm sure this is one the chat have some thoughts on. So we'd love to hear you. Do get chirping in the chat. I've not done any promo for this yet, Scrib. I don't mind if you could share it around whilst we do this. That'd be absolutely amazing. Whilst I engage Rob in polite conversation. Rob, how are you?
Hello, I am well. Just painting huge amounts of guard at the moment. I've taken him to ITT. Was going to take him to Sheffield. Had a bit of a crisis. Realised I have to paint like 50 models and 3 tanks. Decided just to not go to Sheffield instead. So I didn't buy a ticket yet. So that's all right. But yeah, they're all coming together.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the army?
Yeah, I played last night against Ultramarines and got a 18, 17, 18 against them. So they are good fun. I'm not really playing as killy as most people. I'm playing more my bullshit denial type game, but it
Of
seems to
course
be
you are.
working.
Of
Yeah,
course you are.
transports with OC in it.
Yeah,
Love
it
it.
sounds like the absolute dream. Yeah, absolutely. And Scrivo, what's new with you?
Yeah, I've been building and painting 2,000 points worth of Space Wolves because when you have a crisis of kind of being interested in the game, you do the sensible thing and just buy more stuff. Right? That's the right thing to do. Completely normal.
Absolutely. What have you bought?
I have all the characters apart from Ulrich the Slayer. I
Oh,
think
nice.
it's an easier list. The Combat Patrol, the Army Launch Box, and 10 Terminators in addition. So I've kind of gone with a nice mixture of stuff. So I've got a lot of wolf-specific things to at least try to bolt into things. And doing the normal thing, I just went, I don't want to play the normal like detachment most people go to. So I've been trying to build some Bastion Task Force
Yeah,
lists.
nice. There's some cool lists in that, I reckon.
It's fun. It's interesting. And I know that, like, straight off the bat, I've played into the Black Templars version of that, and I'm like, this is sick, and I love this. It doesn't do the same thing. I know it's not going to, but I'm going to have fun doing it. And I think that's sometimes the thing I quite often miss about playing Warhammer, is I'm actually enjoying the idea of just making something a bit weird and seeing how far I can push it with no expectation.
This is Windhost for me. That's why I enjoy Windhost. I like having my thing that's my weird, stupid thing that I'm doing that isn't for any other purpose.
That's
really,
the
really
Ben
good.
Pierce.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
That's now,
Ben
right?
Pearce,
Yeah.
I've brought Ben Pierce into running it, potentially even at ITT, and we'll see how that goes. I was
What
very
was it?
close.
What was it? What do you think about this list? Like about 4 hours later, there's a picture of all the boxes of the minis. Like, yeah, he's committed.
Yeah, I like that he committed to it. Like, it was a list we've not even tested, and he's like, "I'll buy it all and I'll play it." So we'll see.
Yeah.
He gets
So
on.
on the hobby stream, he had built something stupid like 40 jet bikes and
That's
looked like a
completely
broken man. It was brilliant.
completely obscene thing to achieve in that amount of time. Very, very impressive. As for myself, I'm practicing a bunch of stuff. I've got some events coming up. I've got Glasshammer teams. I might be going to South Coast Super Major as well. So I've been trying some different armies out for that, and we've got Home Nations looming as well. So we've had our first couple of meetings with England, comping and prepping for that event. Really interesting time because the meta is simultaneously a bit dull and has lots of things shifting around and adjusting in it. So we're trying to get ahead of that and figure out what the right options for that might be. So I've been playing a couple of different things.
It's good practice for WTC, right? With an addition looming.
Exactly. It's always good practice to be figuring it out. It's annoying though. You think you've got one thing that does a job, and then you're changing it and adjusting and moving things around. I'm enjoying that a lot, and I managed to get a couple of games in today, which was really fun, including against Hubris D, who's in the chat. We've just played a 35-minute game, so thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that game. Dom was disgruntled because I'd gone into a different game earlier on, and he accused me of dodging his challenge. So I met his challenge, and we had a very good time. So thank you for that, Dom. That was really fun. What we'll do is a little bit of a shout out to the chat, tiny bit of self promotion, and then we're going to get straight into our topic. And this is one we really want you, the chat, to be kind of vocal in, because I think we're talking about things we'd like to see in the next edition, and that means thinking about room for improvement, things we'd adjust, things we might want to see happen, maybe even new releases we'd like to see. There's a lot of different angles here. We don't normally do like speculative stuff; that's not really our jam. But I thought this might be quite a fun one to indulge because the meta's fairly straightforward at the minute. It's interesting to think about where we might be going next, because God knows that's what the balance team are thinking about. So I think that's a very reasonable start.
If they're watching, great.
No,
Got some ideas, guys.
and they work really hard. So I'm not sassing them really. They're busy boys. They have a lot on their plates. So who have we got in? We've got Engage on all fronts, who's delighted to catch us live. We've got Dom himself in. We've got Iniquity Adam in. We've got CMWKBM5767. Rolls off the tongue, that one, saying, I saw the thumbnail and came to shout about how blast plates are the devil. Oh my god, there's some weird. We've got Yes Who has Natsarim6892 in, saying 11th edition wish is that Black Templars are not getting nerfed by a Frenchman. Yeah, we'll have to see on the Black Templars front. I'm sure people have individual wishes for their armies as well. So on the sort of self-promotion side, please do hit like, subscribe, please do leave a comment. We really appreciate all of that. That's amazing. We have loads of YouTube members. If you want to sign up and support us financially as a YouTube member, that'd be amazing. If you have a really burning question or thought and you want to super chat us so that we'll address it instantly and with aplomb, you can throw us a super chat as well. Obviously, money we're raising on the channel at the moment is all going towards our WPC streaming fundraiser to raise money for us to go and live stream the World Team Championships with Team England as well. Before we dive in any further, there's a few shout-outs to do as well. Very big congratulations to Alex Fowler and Ed Watts, who were out with the England team and won the Eurotrash Championships this weekend, just gone. Really cool for England to win an event like that. I think we want to be winning more of those again now. We've had a bit of I was about to say reform. We've had a renewal. I don't like reform so much. We've had a renewal. And I think it's starting to show some fruit now, and all the lads that went out there did really well. So delighted for the boys. They had a great time. We're good ambassadors, had lots of fun. So very well done to all of them. The only other bit of self-promotion to say is we do 40k coaching. If you're interested in getting some coaching, learning to play the game with us, you can drop us a message in the Discord and sign up and get some support with your favourite army as well. Yeah, that's it for that. So I think we're going to launch into this. There's a lot of different ways you can break down what you'd like to see. I think we'll start with like a mechanics side of things, and then we can look ahead to how maybe we'd like the competitive landscape to change, and also potentially how we might like the armies or releases in the game to change as well. But I guess to open it up to you, Rob and Scrivo, what's something mechanically that you'd love to see changed going into 11th edition? If we start with you, Scrivo.
I would love the game as a default to not be centered around a match play deck of cards, because as a game at the moment that seems to be almost the default for everything, even just a pickup game, and that feels like a bit of a missed opportunity in the kind of vast way that they could explore the game. It just feels like we just play that same mission pack for essentially a year straight, even for just a random casual game, and the attempts they've had to add to that, things like the asymmetrical stuff, didn't quite work realistically. So having something else that's another option that isn't, let's do some homework and play Crusade, because at the moment playing a pickup game, you're basically doing a tournament practice game, and that feels like it's not quite the jam that it used to be in some respects.
So what do you think that might look like, Scriv?
So to me, what I love is like when they used to do a lot of like more narratively led missions, so something that had a bit more of an interest to it. It was actually enough of a beefy mission that it could justify replacing the other stuff. But at the moment, if you play any of the missions that are in any of these books, they are essentially just, here's your primary. There is no secondary game to it. And it feels like there's kind of like a missing point there, that they could almost do like some sort of weird hybrid where you still have the secondaries, but you do a primary from some sort of other mission, and just a way of mixing it up and introducing something new. Like they do with the bunker.
It does sound like you're inventing comp play for them again at the moment.
Yeah,
I think
it's like something like how Sigma works, isn't it? Doesn't Sigma have some random, you get this mission on this turn?
Well, sort of. But it's just like,
I've never played Sigma.
I think the interesting thing with it is that we have the cards, which used to be the pickup. The pickup play was the cards, right? When I played,
and that's now become the weird default.
We now have that in comp. Yeah. So the question is, what becomes casual play? If the cards are already in comp play, what becomes the casual format?
And that's the problem I've got at the moment, is that there isn't really a casual play to it now, and it feels like there's something missing, because I do watch people that are slightly more relaxed about the game lose touch as a result. So there almost needs to be a way that it can be played, but it doesn't feel like you're playing a really dumbed down version of the game, which is what, when you look at the Maelstrom book, for example, you look at some of the missions in that and you go, cool, it's a really weird map and it's a bit to the other extreme. So it's like there's not kind of a happy medium where you can just play.
Okay. But
it's interesting. I think it's just a weird problem.
I'm hearing the scrutiny. I'm not hearing the solution.
I don't know the answer to it, quite honestly.
It's something you could go is having a more balanced fixed and cards route, because then you don't have that randomness. It is a bit more chilled. You can go
Perhaps,
to
yeah.
pick up game and go, cool, I've got a plan going in, and you can just have
Mm.
beer and pretzels
Because I
and go
had
and play
hoped for the
games.
twists to add this kind of level of like just making it a bit more chaos, but it is the opposite end of the spectrum.
It's
But it
too much
Yeah.
chaos.
Giving
But yeah,
advance and
maybe-
charge 18-inch charges is not fun when you give it to Stormlance.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, yeah, maybe you could just have a really simplified secondary so they are picking like 2 or something.
Yeah.
I think that has all sorts of balancing challenges within it potentially. But I think it's an interesting thing to think about. We've got a shout in the chat for the extra rule decks, like the funky extra mission things. I quite enjoy those, like stealth
Yeah.
outside of 18 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Mortal wounds on objectives is always a fun time. The like lightning rods one that they have. I do enjoy things like that as well. And I think the interesting challenge with that is comp play itself is a very simplified way of playing now. It's much more straightforward than 9th. So I'm just trying to work out what the like even casual, more casual version looks like, other than just maybe you don't have secondaries and you just sit on points and hit each other.
Yeah.
It's almost like the stream we did where we just had random things going, right? Like it's finding your little clique that is quite like-minded to do those casual, just crazy games, right?
Yeah, for
It
sure.
might be something like that.
Yeah. Rob, for you, what mechanically would you like to see change?
I want to see more balanced lists coming back. Every list at the moment for the last 6 months is a super skew and no balance. So I would love to see detachments come back like they were in 8th and 9th. So your
Okay.
mandatory slots.
Okay, so like force org slots, fast
So
attack.
exactly
That's the bingo
so,
sheet filled out. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it is pretty yeah. But I liked how they forced you to actually bring an army and you couldn't just spam. Here's 12 tanks. Here's 8 Catan. It said, you know what, you can try and skew, but you are limited as well. So I like playing a bit of a tactical game and not stat check. I guess it's kind of a mechanic that stops that full stat check when people just lean fully one way.
Yeah, for sure. I guess with a lot of armies now, they do sort of adhere to that, don't they? But I guess that cuts out like full mech skew or full infantry skew or whatever else. So that might, depending on, I think they have good balance across data sheet rules now, and the armies where it does feel like you really want to take a little bit of everything always feel very enjoyable thematically and immersion-wise on the tabletop. So maybe it is just adjusting things. And then you might be able to have detachments that let you like break the rules a little bit. Like you can have a couple more of this because you're Raven Wing or whatever else, right? Because I think some themes do need to skew harder into.
They do need to skew it. It's about just having. I think really what I want is to get rid of some of the rock paper scissor element that comes with the skew. And if you can only 70% skew, not 90% skew, it makes games winnable on both sides, I think.
Yes. No, I think that's very reasonable. For sure. And I think, so maybe a little bit more finesse with that. I think a mechanic in design I would quite like to see like that would be, I would like just relics back. Just relics for non-epic heroes. I really enjoy those. I like the idea of, I just like being able to buff up characters. I know we've got the enhancements. I think even just moving it so that you were taking maybe something like some 3 trait type things, but then like 1 like fun weapon or item as well, like something to distinguish. Enhancements at the moment kind of encapsulates warlord traits and relics, doesn't it? And you get some that are either. Maybe 2 of each in a list would be fair, so that you still get that sense of tooling up characters.
Or if you wanted to do that, or maybe go the way the Corsairs or the old Eldari book used to work, where you could put an enhancement on a squad. It didn't have to be this character.
So that's one thing from the Corsairs rules that maybe that is a sign of the future, right? The upgrading a unit vibe again. I did miss that. Homoxites, Rob. We've got to get it back.
Homoxites were amazing.
No.
We need our Homoxites back.
Just little idiots running around,
they were
dying,
so
or dying,
And then
and getting back up.
kind of adjacent to that is the whole kind of Crucible of Champions is this weird kind of hodgepodge of make a character thing. A step simpler of that could be just, here you go, you can make your own custom warlord and you pay points for giving it specific war gear as well as an enhancement and a relic, and then that feels like you get that flavour, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I think that's something where I do.
Oh,
We lost him.
is Tom frozen for everyone? Just me then? No.
No,
Missed
he's gone.
the
He's
tooling up.
Hey, he's back.
Oh,
He's gone.
Tom.
I cut
oh,
out.
there
He's
you go.
back.
Am
He's
I
back.
You're back.
I got
You're
lost
back.
at 3 4, but we're fine.
Nice.
But yeah,
Why have you got
characters
4 arms?
characters that you can tool up feel great, and there are some good enhancements that do that, but I'd like a little bit more of that. I don't know, maybe it is pushing it to have warlord traits and relics on the same thing. Maybe it's, as you say, it's upgrading a squad, but just a bit more individualization of units and characters. I think they've got epic heroes really right. They're really cool now. I'd just like a bit more a bit more flexibility, because I don't like to feel like it's always the same 2 or 3 options every single time, right? I think it's nice to have a bit more granularity in that way.
You take Dark Angels, you have the line. You take Drukhari, you have Malice. There's just such defaults at the moment with those kind of characters.
Yeah, there are just things that you are going to have, right? We will do a few ones out from the chat first, and then we'll go back around mechanics, because I'm sure there's still plenty more we can talk about. The name, I can't say it, CMWKBM, lots of numbers. Does balancing matter that much in casual games where you have silly extra rules? Well, this is the fun thing about casual players, is that they like the idea of playing casually. The second they smell anything remotely unfair or unjust or not perfectly symmetrical, they lose their minds. So they're a very difficult group to service, because deep down they're very like balance seeking, which is quite hard to pull off when you're trying to make it like casual and wild, right, John?
Yeah, because you kind of want it to be a game where they can turn up to the table, feel like they've got a fair chance.
Yeah.
And that in itself is actually incredibly challenging in any game system.
It's always tough. Especially, we have environments, just gaming environments now, where someone could be coming in to play it for the first time in months against people who play every day. And it's very hard to achieve close outcomes when that is the case, right? It's just a tough one to pull off. We've got another comment that says, I'd like to see less RNG on game deciding mechanics. Card deck, no bueno. I'd like to see a return of well-balanced faction secondaries. They were a great tuning dial. How do we feel about faction secondaries?
No, I absolutely... They are okay if they're used as a... Like, if you had 3 secondaries like we used to, and you could pick one, and they weren't, you will score 15, your max, for taking this army. Because they used them as a balancing lever in 9th, and it should have never been a balancing lever.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't hate them. I think one thing that came to mind was maybe you could have, like, with a codex, like 3 or 4 of them that come with it, and you can swap like 1 or 2 of your deck out for 1 or 2 faction specific ones. You don't want it to become wild.
That was like 8th, right? The old Maelstrom in 8th was like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't hate, because then you can have a tiny bit of flavor. Armies can also like take out 1 or 2 of the ones that are just like a nightmare for what they want to do, which has a balancing effect in and of itself. But you're not so dependent on your faction secondaries. And the issue we always had was if faction secondaries were good or meta defining, they were just appalling to manage, right?
I will get table, but I'll score 45 points in 3 turns. It doesn't matter.
Dream.
It was almost that. Yeah.
Absolute dream. Yeah. Or like, Harlequins with their, I'll get 99 points just flying around.
Yeah.
Heard the prey for Drukhari, like, I'll table you and I'll just get loads of points because you're not in any of the corners. So it's a tricky one, but that would add some immersion and theme if they get it right. I just think maybe shuffling it into what we've already got so it doesn't completely throw that out. I honestly think the current set of secondaries has been really good for more balanced standard play with people as a whole, and they've worked really hard on getting the balance right across the cards now. There's nothing like, we don't have what was it? What was the 6 point?
The be near corners or sides or something.
What was it called? I forget now. There were some loopy ones, or capturing the outposts for an 8 point.
Containment was one of them?
Containment.
Yeah, containment was a 6, and there was an 8 points.
But like they've sort of smoothed it out so that you don't really have those egregious ones in quite the same way.
I do wonder if there's a way of mixing, if you do go faction specific, if you can go a fixed faction specific in 2 cards or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So they do a really quite weird way of doing it with AOS, which I think could suit that sort of thing with the faction stuff, where you pick 2 and you have basically 2 trees where you have 3 secondary each, and you can only do the second one when you've done the first one. So you've got these archetypes you're following, and then you'd work your way through. So it makes sense if you're, say, playing a heavy mobility thing, that you've got a mission that says about going, say, behind enemy lines is one of them, and it just give it a theme to it as well, so then the army has a reason to be doing what it should be doing as well.
Yes, for sure, and I think that's probably the big thing, isn't it? It's having the different options available in that sense. We've got some other thoughts. Oh, pickup game rules: slay the warlord, first blood, hold objectives, simple, fun. Yeah, I don't hate that. I wouldn't mind Slay the Warlord back. I enjoyed Slay the Warlord. That was always a good time. That's a fun card. Christopher M8 says Crusade rules that aren't a copy paste of 10th edition, which are already a copy paste of 9th edition Crusade rules. Yeah, Crusade is a funny one. I love the idea of it, but when I try and read my faction's Crusade rules, like I can process things. I have a brain for processing things. I can't. It's just like it's a lot. It's an
You get
awful
halfway
lot.
through, you're like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to play match play."
It's
just
such
like,
a wide game already, right? And you
it's
add that layer on top.
I think maybe dispense with like the mini games within your army for XP or whatever. Get rid of that and build a campaign around like a map and locations and taking ground from each other and battles counting in that sense. Because then you're just playing games. You can have your roster or whatever, and your roster gradually grows over the campaign. But I think a sort of battle map-based campaign, that's for me, that was always the sort of thing that really got me energized narratively, right? If I'm taking a territory or a sector or we're fighting over a location, and then we can track that on the board. I think that's nice and simple enough and visual enough to follow. And then a bit less of like these scouts actually have extra AP on objectives because they killed 4 units in the last game or whatever. There's just not. There's a bit
too much stuff to remember. When it's already a game that you mechanically have to remember.
Level up just the characters maybe and leave the rest.
Yeah.
I think my first game I played, my first and only Crusade game, my local, nice casual game, went down with 1,000 points of balance, Dark Angels, this bit of everything. Got down there, started with 21 command points because the guy had maxed out every unit through the last X months of playing Crusade. I was like, oh, okay, everything is like a Terminator captain. Great, this is going to be fun.
But you had 20 CP as a reward.
But I got table turn too, so it was all good.
Exactly.
I CP rerolls everything every phase.
That needs to have strict rules on what you can pick as well. Like you shouldn't be able to take duplicates of things in Crusade. I think you should just have a bit of everything and no name characters unless it's a special one-off mission or whatever else. Like, there's a lot you could do with it. Maybe we'll just have to write our own script if we don't get a version of it that works.
Yeah.
But narrative play is crying out for something a bit punchier and smoother. And I think, give us a map, give us some little tokens for cities and armies, and let us sort of gradually fill up a board and eat each other's territory. I think that'd be really fun. Next question: could someone explain to a newbie why base-to-base line of sight doesn't work?
Instead of like an arm poking out, I think a lot of other kind of game systems.
It should work that way. Is I think quite a common argument, just for sanity's sake. But for some reason, 40k does line of sight based on the model, which is fine until people model their model differently or use a different sculpt.
Yeah, that might simplify things with all these lovely fancy models if it's just base-to-base visibility. Obviously, some units can exploit that more than others. And as Christopher replies, there are some models which massively overhang their base. Yeah, so like the Tower Hammerhead with its tiny little stuff.
Yeah.
Like you
cannot see my Ravager.
The problem is a lot of the models were designed around the base not being a consideration necessarily. It was like, this is just the size of the base that the model fits on, and there is a mechanical reason behind that, and that's why we're starting to see things like vehicles appearing on bases, perhaps. Like,
for sure.
You didn't used to get buggies on them.
Yeah, the new Viper, it's got a nice big oval base, right?
It does. It's got a huge booty base.
It protects it for storing.
Shining Spears once again coming out the wrong end of this one, Rob.
Get in the bin.
Engage on all front says, I'd like to see faction stratagems that work across any detachment and a smaller list of detachment-specific ones. What do you think of that?
Maybe, I think. Like, maybe if we had the situation where, say, Space Marines, and you're playing Space Marines, and you go, I'm playing Dark Angels, you get a Dark Angels army rule, you get your core stratagems, like, say, 3, that they always have, like, weapons of the Dark Age, something to do with bikes, and it's themed and relevant, and then you have 3 that are to do with your detachment, and then you're still playing the army, but then you're not having to just skew it each time.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
I actually really like
that. I thought they'd do that. Like, I thought Armour of Contempt was like, I thought other armies were going to have, like, they always have this one, and then they have, like, 5 others that change. And so there might be a bit more space for that. Where, like, maybe you could have 2 or something that just the army just has, and then you can have your 6 for your detachment, and that's not going completely crazy.
For simplification, I like that idea because then it's like a nice way of internally balancing the book. So you go, I just need to, like, every detachment has this, and if it's too good, we change it for everything, which means it affects all the units within those detachments.
That's it.
Like the
You
DNA
change it, you can update it and boost the power that way or whatever else.
At the same time, though,
Yeah.
I'm one of the very few people who loved having 20 stratagems.
I also
I love those days when you go, cool, I've got a suite, I know all of them backwards, and I know that one game out of 10 I'm going to use a stratagem that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I've got 4 rerolls to hit and wound against Slanesh. Don't even worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah, I am a guardsman. I will kill any demon. Yeah.
Do you have fallen keyword? Please tell me a fallen keyword.
that wasn't handed out that much, was it, John? Unfortunately.
Fuck's sake. Maybe next edition.
We've had a lovely super chat from Bonsai Kitty Gaming. Thank you very much for that. Saying, beer money, love the content channel, keep up the great work. I think Chaplain Litany should come back some way. So there's a mechanic, right? Litanies and psychic powers. Would it really be too much? Would it be too much to have them now?
They were nice and thematic, right?
I think they were quite nice. We've seen it work for Thousand Suns where they've got some casting in game. It's tricky. I think it's tricky, but I do like the idea. And I miss, like, there's units I have, like the Magus for GSC. She is sat being pointless now. She was a wizard. That was her thing. And now she's useless.
Ezekiel was in every list.
I do. I miss the psychic mini game. I wonder if there's an extent to which we can revive that without it being crazy. It never felt like a massively egregious part of 9th edition. It wasn't any of the greatest problems that we had, was it? Really?
I think the biggest problem it has is it was tied to secondaries, and it gave some armies had access and some don't. Because I know people taking psychic interrogation, and there was another one we didn't. And like, I was taking enhancements on my Drukhari who don't have psychers just to get a deny to try and stop my opponent from scoring points. It was.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like it, but I think there is some intricacies around how you balance it around bits of the game at the same time.
Thank you, Dom, for your super chat saying penance. There's no penance at all. I didn't mean to miss our game of points. I'm glad we got to play. That was definitely play.
Was that pay to lose? I should do more of that.
Fun. I'd made some chopsy comments about knights in our chat, so I had to back it. Oh dear, God bless him. Right, and then if they properly separated comp play and casual play, you could have that depth of strat and toolbox. Yeah, I do maintain the issue is psychologically separating comp and casual in people's minds. That's the real issue. It's players that are incapable of it. It's not them.
Because when they used to have 3 ways to play, it was really one way to play. No one played open play unless they wanted to play a bunch of really weird stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, cool, we'll do this when we're bored of playing normal games.
It's very Pandora's box, isn't it? It's hard to put it back in once you've got that out. This is why, as someone in the chat said, Tom just wants to play a game of Risk, but each fight is a Warhammer game. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Give me a planet map, you give me little plastic men, I paint those as well. Badly, and then I mark out my city.
I get my 10 points.
He's okay. He's at least passable. He's all right. He's all right.
Little mate.
He's out of focus, mate.
You're out of focus, and then
really not.
Oh, dear. David Collins says, "Bring back Perils of the Warp." I miss killing my wizards on Devontae. Yeah, that was always fun.
Not just wizards, they exploded, didn't they? Didn't they have like a deadly device?
Explosions are one of the last, like, sort of truly random cinematic elements like that. We're like, oh god, and then everything dies.
And it always goes so wrong. And I miss a bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. So I think that's one. So name Kumawubakum in the chat says the people who are most mad about competitive landscape are also completely unwilling to play casual game modes. It's incredible. Yeah, I agree. That's the basic mental lock you're stuck in. If we think about like just play mechanics, guys, like in game, what are there any aspects you'd like to see changed or fine-tuned or improved?
Fixed transports, not just transports, dudes in transports. Just make it so it's like they're in strat reserve. Like they don't go into this
open-topped.
Unless it's open top. But I like how open top works now.
I really like it, yeah.
I don't mind not getting auras out of a transport, but when they go into transport and can't be oathed or can't be targeted from things, where usually they can if they're in space, like surely it's either target something in a transport than in space.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
they've had a really good addition, haven't they? I think a lot of how it is works quite well. I think maybe true wrapping just needs to be done away with altogether. Like, I don't really like the sort of genuine wrapping of transports very much. That always seems a bit sad when it happens to people. Rob doesn't mind it. He's
No,
sighing.
don't mind it. I play transport heavy, and I don't mind it because it gives some counterplay, right? And you can never truly be wrapped because you know you disembark if you don't kill it. But you have to set that up, and
Yeah.
it does take. It's one of the like I feel like transport play is one of the intricate bits of play that we've got left over from ninth, where there is a lot of jank you can do.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Scrivo, what's a mechanic you'd like to see changed?
I would like to see Battle Shock changed.
Oh, nice.
I genuinely would like it because there's some mechanics that people have on data sheets that state if they are battle shocked it doesn't work. I'd like that to be consistent, so have it either one extreme or the other, so that if you're battle shocked, you can't do stratagems, your data sheet abilities in some way are not as effective. I don't think it's entirely fair to just strip them away from things, because that is a real feels bad, especially if you had Shadows of the Warp do it to half your bloody army.
Yeah.
But there should be a consequence to it. And I'm not sure it's always quite as impactful, or it can be too impactful, I guess, in some extremes, because there's some armies that, if they're battle shocked, they can't do anything. And it's just, I'm not sure how right they got it. I think it's better than it has been. Like, the way leadership used to work just felt like it didn't come up in a game, especially like as a Dark Angels player, where mechanically we were told you don't fail leadership. It's like, well, what's the point of this mechanic for me?
But you get buffed if you,
And it's just in this edition, it's just like I'm not sure quite. Like sometimes you can battle shock someone, and realistically, it doesn't bloody matter. And that feels a shame that there should be something to it. Like, I don't know, like strats is fine, but you wouldn't be doing strats on your intercessor sat on an objective anyway, perhaps. So. I don't know. The punishment level, I don't feel fits it. But
the -1 has got it a lot closer to like that kind of like could go, could not go. I've had some epic games where a battle shock at the end has decided the game. Right? I played cool. Sam Smith in our TTS league, and Jane's battle shock was the difference between me winning or him winning, and she failed. And that honestly felt incredible. Like that was just like absolutely spot on. Like that kind of a game where there'd been so much back and forth, and you've got this wounded Phoenix Lord who's like, you know what? No, I'm done. I've had enough.
Back to the website.
Exactly.
I guess for me, like you say, I'm the same with you guys, but playing guard, Battle Shock really has a big effect on them because it turns off orders. They do have all these buffs, but it feels really thematic that they are humans, and when they are beaten down and afraid, they do drop from their strats and they do lose some of effectiveness. It's not everything, but it just takes them down that one notch, which kind of feels thematic and good.
Yeah, degrading. They don't apply it equally to all things, do they? So it might be interesting to see a bit more of that on different things.
Because I guess it makes sense if you're a shall know no fear superhuman space marine that you probably shouldn't be too scared. But at the same time, it's not just being scared. It's you've literally been bombed or shelled or had someone penetrate your mind with dark, like warp thoughts of some sort. It just it shouldn't necessarily be as clean cut, I guess.
No, exactly. I think they need to just carry on with it and refine a little bit more. I don't love battle shocking stuff from like behind a wall. Don't love that. Find that a bit frustrating. Yeah. I think they've got to be a bit more careful about what armies have that and how easily access stuff like that is. Because that feels a bit silly sometimes. But I have liked it. I think it's felt like a much more real part of the game in the last half of the edition.
Yeah, because when they changed Shadow in the Warp to how it currently is compared to launch, it now has an impact in a game that can really flip a game if you fail those tests, right?
Yeah,
so
completely.
You don't have primary, which should be like that.
Yeah, completely. We have a super chat, thank you very much, from Yeshua's Natsarim, who says, am I the only person who thinks fighting through a wall should go away? Interesting. So how do you then engage things that are hiding behind walls, I guess is the question. That's
Take
a tricky one.
Away. Play
I'd quite like to see them extend the engagement range like they do at WTC just into everything, so you can't do this I'm an inch off the wall, you can't charge me stuff.
Yeah,
that does work quite well,
I hate the interactions like that where you could physically make the distance but the terrain's getting in the way. Terrain should always be something that enables the kind of environment to look cool but not to impact the play experience. We want to get in, right?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. That there was some love in the chat as well for Old Fly, which I wasn't gonna do this, but God, I missed Old Fly.
Just let us all be there.
I think as we're slowly making every big thing in the game move through walls, and you're there with your venoms and your wave serpents, like I can't do that though because I'm not a defiler, so obviously I can't traverse terrain as nimbly as a defiler can. I wonder if maybe that would help at this stage. It's just the game is so quick now. The game's very speedy.
I think it was to help with the fact that things could be so quick and so lethal. So if they maybe tone down the lethality again, because it has kind of ramped up over the edition, that could help. Like let people move more, but make them not as killy, and then it's not as impactful in that side kind of side of things. Because remember, like in 9th edition, I could fling 12 land speeders at you and go, well, everything's dead because I went first. Cool. Is that going to be the game we go into for 11th? I hope not.
I mean, you still could give some, like if you want to say go over a wall, you go, it's 3 inches of your movement to go over a wall.
Yeah.
And it still does limit it. So you do have your elves, which are the super fast, super squishy things. Then you have the flying land speeders, which actually uses a good chunk of its movement, so it's not going to be thrown across the board.
Yeah, so maybe just taking a bit of movement off would do it, right? I think being able to have those speedy things feel more able to navigate the terrain would be nice. And I do love a flying vehicle. I think those are cool. And certain armies would definitely struggle. Smart Martin says, if you allow Fly to go over walls again, it's just the Drakarian Eldar meta of Fire and Fade. See, I don't know if it is.
What's wrong with that? That's fine.
I don't know if it... But those armies and those units should be able to function and do their thing.
Yeah.
And at the moment, they feel more cumbersome than just infantry, right?
Yeah.
Infantry just dominates.
Try playing Sky Splinter Assault on any major terrain thing and tell me that they feel like a fast army.
Yeah, they just don't. You're just sort of hopping from your little pools of safety, and then some guys with jump packs fly through it and just kill your transport. Like, fantastic.
This would just be Mantle keyword at that point, right?
Yeah. Sure. So I think that one they'd have to see. I don't know how you guys feel. I wonder if actually a bit of a toning down of speed across units might be quite good. I feel like the boards themselves got smaller, and then the armies and units are very quick now. You can get on each other really fast.
Yeah. This kind of comes into like one of the things I wanted to talk about is like your army identity.
Yes.
I feel like through this edition, as we've got later and later, like we started, like every army was quite unique at the start of the edition in Index World. And I feel like we've just slowly turned into every army has the same tools now. Everyone's got a 7-inch move, 8-inch move. You know, there's Space Marines who move 7 inches base.
Leave me alone! I've just bought them.
There's Marines that move faster than that, mate. They're all over the shop. Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you pick up an army and you can go, cool, this is the detachment that I can play in any other army, and it just has slightly different data sheets, and I don't particularly like that.
Yeah. I think one mechanic change I'd probably quite like. I think at this point we are approaching the point where either you just make a reactive move a universal stratagem, so every army can do it, or you trim them back very aggressively, because there's no link now between the armies that have reactive moves and the ones that have traditionally had it, the trixier ones, or the ones that need to pull shenanigans to stay alive. A lot of the armies out there using reactive moves right now are some of the most durable armies in the game.
Yeah.
At which point you're just like, what are we doing? Right, so I think probably a universal strat for it, completely legit. Maybe a 2 CP universal flat 6 reactive. I think that'd be a reasonable and costly. It could be game turning, but you're not going to do it all the time.
I think the other way. I don't think there should be any guarantees because
you think get rid of them?
I know. I think they are okay, but I don't think there should be any flat 6 or D3+3. I think it should just be a D6 because you're acting your opponent's turn. And it gives counterplay. You don't have guaranteed, oh, my combi lieutenant is here and he's going back here, he's going back here, he's going back here. Every fucking turn. There is some risk in doing that, then.
Yeah, for sure. I think they have to figure that one out. I think the more we go into like universal jank like that, the more it becomes like Sigmar, where Sigmar's meta is almost completely shaped by like the universal weird
redeploy
stuff. All that stuff. Do, like a redeploy, a countercharge, all this stuff just shapes the game completely. But it's become so widely distributed that we're almost effectively at that. It's just it's a meta that only half the armies are invited to, and that's not great. Smart Marty in the chat asks, how do you feel about grenades only being available to certain units? I love a lone Space Marine character, sub 100 points, we won't name which ones, putting out mortal wounds for a CP just because. I did no mortals with a grenade earlier on against Dom. My Pioneers hucked a grenade, did no damage. Well done there.
Do you know what I did yesterday to Ash? I came out with some Catachan. He killed 9 Catachan with a Rep-X. I scored primary. It went behind a wall. Next day it came out and did 4 devs to some Bitrix card just by throwing a grenade.
That guy's a hero. I like
He's a hero.
Grenade is, again, if you think about cinematic strats, it is like when you get that last couple of wounds off a big thing with a grenade, it's awesome. It's one of the cool things in this edition. I do really like it. There are obviously some armies that have no access, which feels a little bit sad. Engagement fronts is talking about GSC characters. Yeah, that's half my damage in any given phase. Don't take it away from me. In the shooting phase, I'm like, I'll do 2 wounds with flamers and 2 wounds with a grenade, and then we'll go and hit it.
Starting turn. What do I need CP for? Grenades and tech shot. So, there we go.
So I get why it's locked to the grenade keyword on the datasheet because they're physically modelled on the models. I get that. But to me, someone like Tyranids, they're just shooting out some weird sort of venom sack or something. It makes perfect sense that everything should have access to it in some respects. Maybe like not vehicles, make it like every
infantry locked.
And maybe mounted at a stretch. Then it feels fair. And yeah, it probably homogenises the game a little bit that everyone's playing sort of the same rules, but isn't that the point? That we've got our own little tricks, but then the core thing's the same.
Yeah. I don't know. I think some of the like rapid ingress I've loved. Overwatch, not my army's rule, but I like it. Right, I get why it happens. It's like it's a really good tool for lower activation armies. Grenade is a great like little just smoother in all situations. It's like if you're smart, even if you slightly undercook it, you can still dig yourself out. That's the whole function of it, right?
And there's risk because you're at that activation that you have to throw the grenade first. You have to throw the grenade first, and you might not have needed to. So it's still a decision point. It's not an auto.
Yeah, exactly. He says, I played Tyranids and I had him do that to my Swarm Lord. It would be okay if I could do the same back. Play Synaptic Nexus, and you can in very specific circumstances. And the Lamb Raider has grenades.
Yeah, but weirdly, the Battle Wagon, which has grenade launchers built onto the model, does not have them. So they need to be fair and equal with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, really, really funny.
Livid.
Anything else mechanically for you boys jumping out?
Terrain.
Terrain. Go on,
The fact that currently all we have is footprints of ruins and we fight across cityscapes. I used to love as a novelty playing a city fight game. Don't get me wrong, that was a really cool thing when you got that and it was a board that was really dense. Now that's all we seem to play on. I just wish there was some more variety. And I'm not saying like levels of complexity where we have 18 different special rules for different types of GW terrain. I just wish there was a purpose to having something like a wood on the table or craters to actually mean anything. Like we see it with WTC with the containers. They create kind of choke points. We could have more of that, and it doesn't need to just be the same piece of terrain. It could be a keyword-based thing, and I think there's so much more opportunity there to kind of add variety to make the games look different and feel different, even if it is just the same keywords on very different-looking bits of terrain. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah. I did miss Dense when we got rid of that because I felt like it opened up different play patterns against different armies with your army. Because it just created options, and it wasn't always the same option that you would take depending on what you played against.
Yeah,
it felt good.
That's where we're just crying out for, like crates, non-breachable stuff, getting a bit more love. Then what else have they got? The tree things, weird like foliage, pipes. There's all sorts of stuff, and it's just finding a niche for those things.
It just takes one major TO circuit to go, we're going to use one of these and it'll take off, but it's figuring out a terrain set that actually works with it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like they will go big with this because it's like the money maker they're not yet hitting the notes on for 40k, right? They must have been underselling on their actual terrain for quite a while, certainly from comp players. So it's like you've got to make it relevant, and the best way to do that is give it interesting rules that shape the game.
And they've done it in their other systems. They've given you free terrain in AOS. Kill Team is Games Workshop terrain gets used 95% of the time. So they've seen it work.
So good. I love
it's practical and beautiful.
Team boards
so
good.
Good.
Heart sing. They look so good.
And they're very practical. and
And that, again, if you can nail it where you can have different almost deployments and missions where the terrain itself is a part of it and it completely distorts and shapes how that mission plays, that has massive potential, I think. But they just need to get a lid on that and stop leaving it to competitive players to do that and design that, really. I think that would be very good.
It's my one wish.
Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of D6, go 2D3 instead to give more of an average. I like the D6.
Yeah.
I like rolling with D6. I like rolling ones sometimes. It happens. My Saboteur's bombs, one, over and over.
What about D8s?
Alex Fowler's in the chat. Welcome, Alex Fowler. Well done on your win at the ETC. He says, trees and foliage has always been shit. There you go. So that's, I think, making that relevant would be good.
Yeah.
Craters, I think that's something WTC does well. Having just things you can't just yeet through makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Visual variety in terrain is sorely lacking. I'd like a bit. It should be so doable. You've got a game setting where you've got cities, you've got like factories, you've got like
planets,
forts, you've got planets with weird jungles and rock. There's so much you could do, and it's just figuring out a few ways to do it. That has to be something they go for, right? If we think about what we'd like to see in terms of, I guess, the direction of the army design space and the factions, are there any big changes you guys would like to see there?
I guess it is the identity and just like I said before, we've had some big refreshes this edition, really, haven't we? With Guard, we've had a massive one towards the end of, was that the end of 9th into 10th?
Yeah.
Whole heat. Eldari had a huge one, and just continue that. It's
I think revisiting all the classics and fleshing them out has been going great, hasn't it?
It has been, yeah.
It's just basically Grey Knights left, realistically, to get some love. Them and Demons, and
are we a joke to you? Are we a joke to you, John?
What about us? Look up.
What about the Stadio, John?
Yeah, that's a point, actually. Yeah, they're the ones that... It's those three, I always forget them because I still lack empathy for
Grey
them.
Grey Knights, Drukhari desperately need it.
Yeah,
Votan need a bit of love.
I think they just keep on plugging away with
splashes, right?
Yeah.
I think they just, and maybe next time don't just do another slow, tough infantry unit. I think that was all Steeljacks. It's like you've just done it again. It's just more of the same stuff. I think they.
Your Dreadnought's coming. That's
it. Like something mid-sized and stompy. I'm very excited. I've ordered the new Beric Stormbro off of John. I want the new Berserker character because he does look fun. So I think it's just getting that right, isn't it, with them really, and getting that kind of. Continue to add the flavour. Other armies need rounding out more. Emperor's Children, Thousand Sons, World Eaters. What do you think they should do with demons?
I like the direction they're going. Making it into the corn and corn worshipping side. I like the way they've gone that way.
Yeah, it would suit me as someone because I only really like the only fully realised chaos range I have is Death Guard and Nurgle Demons, right? Where I have all of that. So actually, that was always the way I liked to run the Death Guard, was with some Nurgle Demons in there as well. So that would be cool. I think they just have to nail it so that you actually get genuine use out of all those different ingredients. In theory, they can pull that off because the scales at which the Demons operate are so different to where the Marines operate. Just hard to balance it, isn't it?
I just would like it so that you could use them in the army full stop and not be just locked into one detachment, because that felt a bit sad this edition. Like, those detachments always felt like you were just compromising any form of success. Like,
can you achieve enough internal balance with it that you can have the demons across all the detachments for that army?
Just limit them to, like, you can have a quarter, right? Or something like that.
Yeah,
give some sort of limits, right?
You could even vary it per detachment depending on if you have any concerns.
It's like the Eldari bringing Corsairs, or Drukhari bringing Corsairs. It's 500 points mostly, but then there is that one detachment you can take 1,000. Harlequins, sorry, of Corsairs.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, it's interesting. I say it's a funny one because demons are awesome in their own right. We've got some love for them as a standalone faction in the chat. They are awesome and thematic as they are, so it's a tricky one. Can we have Exodites? Can we have Elves on Dinosaurs, please?
Yes, please.
I would like to see Space Marines properly just split up in the same way that they did the Chaos stuff, because Ultramarines, that should be a book. Dark Angels, give them their own flavour. Take this Oath of Moment bullshit away.
Going back around.
Because we've tried it. I loved the idea, because originally, when I first got my Dark Angels, I had like 4 or 5 units I couldn't take. They'd update rules. I'd then have to wait to get my book that updated me to give me my Super Doctrine. Having it that way never worked, but now we've got the app and they can update things and everything can kind of flow naturally. There's no excuse not to split it off. Like we've seen it with like Drakari in Yunari having their own data sheets as well. It's just an extra data sheet that they tweak a little bit. It's not that complicated anymore. I feel like they need to do that next, because you then have the situation where a Space Wolf-esque detachment in Space Marines gets utilised by someone else that probably shouldn't be using it, or an archetype like that, and it just always feels a bit messy because of unintended consequences, because they're trying to please everything.
Yeah, when you look at Marines, it's almost 20 detachments now across across like it's probably like 8 sub-factions.
Yeeting Gladius around there, aren't they?
If anyone thinks he can balance 8 sub-factions across 20 detachments, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah, this was one of those things where I think Marine players asked for it and then they didn't like what they got. Right? I think
they realised there's one place play.
There's something nice in having your own design directions, and as you say, the units are there now. There's a lot of variety across the Marine ranges, and they're adding even more. Right, the new characters for the compliant chapters, and obviously even the CSM legions have got more of that now. Think if you could do an Iron Warriors or a Night Lords book in the future, that would be really cool. I would absolutely love that crap.
Because it doesn't quite work the way they did it with Space Wolves. Now I've kind of broken into that. The understanding of the balance of like putting a Judiciate into like say Wolf Blood Claws. That's why they haven't done it. But at the same time, there needs to be a better answer to an army because it doesn't feel uniform. So I don't know what the right answer is at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely lean on the side of make them different and make them interesting from one another. I think that's healthy. I think it's, as you say, Ultramarines are now emerging fully fledged, ready to just have their own thing. That might free them up to then do a bit more with some of the other compliant ones. So that would be a cool direction to see them go in. And I'm trying to think if there's any other factions we'd like to see any big changes with in terms of how they're functioning. What do you think for like agents of the Imperium, Grey Knights, Custodies, Imperial agents? Do you think it's time to smush that together, or do you think you keep building out?
I think they should all just be. They shouldn't be a standalone army. It just should be a what do you call it? A allies book.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Custodies as well. Bin them off to be allies.
I think they should be. They, you read like some Horus Heresy lore, and it is 3 Custodies have gone with a whole platoon, and they were the difference. Then you rock up to a table, you're like, cool, there's 20 Custodian Guard and Wardens on the table right now. They should take a whole sector. Yeah.
it all scales really wonky though, because Space Marines are the same, right? Unless it's a giant battlefield, you're going to have 10 Space Marines against thousands of Orcs. It's a weird sort of thing that they never quite get right in the lore translation into the tabletop. So I never think we'll be happy.
CMWKBN 5767. I'm going to say your name because you've said drop Custodies entirely. We're done with them. You're speaking to me.
Yes.
You're speaking to me on a deep spiritual level.
But
my fear is if we start doing that to armies like that, then suddenly we end up doing it to like Drakari or
Drakari very quickly.
Eldar are finally dead. The dead race is finally dead.
Yeah. I wouldn't want GSC to just be like some NIDS allies you can take. That'd be a bit sad. It's an interesting one, that. And I think in terms of new factions, it'd be cool to see some Dark Mechanicus. That would be nice. I want to see a few more individual characters for the CSM legions. Like a Word Bearer's character would be really cool. Lean a bit more into that style. Maybe go towards Lost and Damned as a whole option. You've kind of hinted at it with the Cursed Cultists and Traitor Guard and stuff like that. Can you flesh that out even more? Have even more Griblies?
Do an allies book for them.
Horde allies and weird psychic stuff going on.
And that's like you could have a Corsairs and Harlequins allies book. Almost every faction will have access. And
certain ranges would just make more sense that way, right? As plugins in that sense. Big old Jim wants new Trazin. Love that for you. Obviously, I want to see this come back because then I'll collect Necrons when that happens.
In the collection.
Yeah. Hi, Paint Celestine. Lovely to have you here. What we're going to do now, I think we've rattled around our sort of main key thoughts for what we'd like to see. We're going to go through podcast questions because there's a bunch in there. But if you, the chat, have any other thoughts or ideas about what you'd like to see in 11th or questions about what you'd like to ask us, do shout us out. If you want to chuck us a super chat, we'd love you forever as well. And do remember, please, to hit like, subscribe, leave a comment on the video, all that good stuff. So what do we have in podcast questions? It was popping off in there, so I'm a little bit alarmed. about
How many are actually
Davey
questions?
said some stuff I'm not going to respond to. Okay, where did the questions actually start? So Davey's request was you cannot move outside the movement phase if you're battle shocked. So no movement if you're battle shocked. Feels
Yeah, it
rude.
sounds like what something a NID player would say. So
Yeah, that does sound rude. It sounds very Eldar targeted as well, right? Let me have my reactives
No,
again.
it's Tau targeted.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah, the old twin lance, the old twin lance. Then what else we got? Kyle asks, on the latest UKTC blog post on point 4, they talk about aiming to make a structure where top tier players are able to make a full-time income / earn a sustainable living. To me, without external resources like having a YouTube channel, I personally don't see this happening anytime soon. Then again, people probably said the same about esports 20 to 30 years ago. Do you think this is a possibility, or is this just wishful thinking? Interesting, isn't it, that? So I feel like I am not against people making money and making some degree of a career in this game. We're doing that here, right? We've made money in this game and we're continuing to do so. I worry about event circuits being the place that happens. I think if you get into like financial reward for winning events, we've already got a game that can barely police itself at the top of the game, right? Like I think we've made good progress, but it's such a social contract game that if there's like thousands of pounds on the line, I don't back the current levels of refereeing and community support to actually control that kind of behaviour, and I don't want to financially reward it. We've all competed with people in this game who've gone further by doing it the wrong way, and if they're making money at the end of it, that's worrying. So I think you'd need a much more stringent reffing and community standards before you could look at it, and I worry that you'd lose some of what makes the motivation for doing this pure. I always feel like the money in this really, for most of the people doing it well in it, is like the happy accident of how much they care about it and are passionate about the game and enjoy all these other things. And I know it's snobbish. I'm deeply suspicious of anyone for whom the financial motivations are first and the Warhammer's second. Right? That's not for me. Those aren't the people I'm really that fussed about in this game. And I think the more you try and incentivize being a top player, being the way you make your money, the more dangerous that gets. I've definitely seen teams and players who feel like they're in a rush to make their name and so they can make money and be successful, and it just breeds shitty behaviour sometimes.
I need to get those so I can set up coaching, because that will be my CV on bringing people in.
I've got to coach, which means I have to go 5-0, which means I'm going to cheat this guy that doesn't know how to play the game, or I'm going to be really unpleasant in this round 4 or 5 game. Like, I don't want that to be the direction of travel. To take an example of things that I love, like the World Champs, that's such a cool showcasing where, again, you win an event, you get a ticket, you get to go and do a thing. That helps people make their name because you're out there. You can make it visible. You can go. You have these big games. You meet all the other big players, but it's not in such a like commercialized place that it feels mucky or financial.
It's not just on result either.
Yeah.
You had people were on best overall, which I went on best overall.
Yeah, exactly.
The games I had over there were some of the best games. Was playing, top WTC players, and every game was played in exactly the right way. Exactly, like people going take backs, going, do you know this is going to happen? It's great, and that's because there is none of that financial incentive. It's just people going, I want to beat this person because I played my best.
100%. Alex Fire in the chat says 40k events should not be played for lots of money, else cheating and toxicity would be rampant. People already do it, playing for nothing. Yeah, I completely agree. Again, I'm in the England setup, right? The pressure and the stress and occasionally the angst that comes with that. There's no money on the line. We're not making money. It's already an environment where we have to actively work to make sure we're all good with each other and good to each other, and we don't cross any lines, and we have to curate who's involved because there are people who just do not get it and bring a really unpleasant energy to things. And I think the more you financially incentivize the top, the more dangerous that becomes. That said, as long as people are championing people who play the right way and we continue to do that, I think the direction of travel has been really positive on that. But for me, it's like YouTube, coaching, events. Those are all pretty worthy hustles in this game that people can make plenty of money from already, that are all sort of service rather than taking. You don't want to incentivize the taking bit. The succeeding bit is the taking bit, right? The teaching people or putting on events for people or helping educate or provide entertainment. Those are all giving things. I don't mind money coming back for that so much. but I'm wary of the competitive aspect being the financially rewarded bit.
Yeah.
The other thing is that once we've got that professional class of players, we already have a situation where there's just a class of players in this country that just beat everyone else. Let's be real. This consolidates that even more. At which point you just need to then separate them, and then that's sad as well. You don't want these people
Have
not
a
all
pro
being
circuit.
the beautiful thing, yeah, exactly. The beautiful thing with them all being in the same hall. I don't mind some pro circuit, like World is a bit like that, like a Masters type event, and there's people mooting that. Like that's all cool. But I think part of the beauty of 40k is that someone who plays it to an incredible standard turns up and has a beer and plays with someone who has painted it beautifully and doesn't give a shit how the game goes, and all those people are in the same hall and they have a good time together, because it anchors you to all the different things the hobby's supposed to be about. And I don't like anything that pushes away from that. And esports, yeah, I've looked at some. My Facebook keeps showing me esports stuff because it's like, well, he's a nerd, so he must obviously like this. It looks like garbage. It's horrible. I don't enjoy anything coming out of that world at all. It's very, very grim and rubbish, in my opinion. But there we are. Logan Sammer says, I love Tom. He has exactly the attitude I want my talking heads in the community to have. I love you, Logan. That's deeply specific, and I'm a huge fan
Can I
of it.
ban that guy? I need to ban that guy. Who is he? He knows nothing about competitive esports. What's he talking about? Jeez.
Oh no, because he's in. I've slagged off esports before, and then Logan's very right. He's very right to kick me out. It's so unfair of me. Sorry, Logan. That's very ignorant of me, given you've been saying nice things about me. Oh dear. But I think it's. Oh no, it's the heartbreak. Oh no. So there you go. No, I think it's one of those things where I think it's going to depend on the game and everything else. I think what was it I was seeing? It was showing me a lot of like Dota, and it just all seemed.
Oh god, that game is miserable.
It just all
mate.
seemed a bit grim and miserable. So I think you'll have to educate me, Logan, in where all the good esports are at. So if we think about. Huber said, didn't they stop large prizes in the States after some issues in various tournaments? Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, it just is. It's just full of danger, right? It's just full of issues. You don't want to incentivize the misconduct too much. But I think I'll be interested to see what they mean and what that actually looks like in the future. Spacebugs had a question. I've recently started playing Orcs as I found Nids very underwhelming. With 11th around the corner, should I be worried? Orcs look to be in the release box. As such, they're likely to face the same early codex issues Tyranids have had in 10th. The power creep and rule sets of certain later books make some of the early ones feel poorly late on in the edition. What do you think?
I wouldn't worry about it. Because what will happen, right? At the end of the day, if you're building and painting an army you're enjoying, they change the rules quite frequently on the stuff. Nids had a couple of solid little reworks. They had a new character recently. I know that's not a big deal, but they seem to be kind of going for this thing where they do lots of splash releases. Orcs are going to get hopefully a refresh with the edition change, if that's what's happening. It'll be a whole new thing to learn and understand. So it should be a good... unlike Nids, I think was more of a kind of a gentle updating. It feels like Orcs are going to get some sort of big kind of like... Here's now how we want you to be working, and so it should be quite exciting to learn and understand. It won't. I think they're different to Nids in a way that they have so many different facets with the clans that there is very weird and wonderful ways to play them that you shouldn't have that worry as much. And you can always dig out your Nids because Nids might be halfway through the edition much more interesting.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of things with Nids as well. You know what book came out at the exact same time as Nids? Marines. That didn't have an early edition book problem, so it's bollocks. The entire narrative is bollocks. It's just that Marines were repeatedly loved up and Nids weren't, and Nids played a very cerebral, clever, techie style of game, and in this game you get hammered doing that sometimes. They wrote them a book that was technical and clever and not as damage heavy, and they suffered for that. It's not when the book came out, it's how they did the book as compared to the Marines, right?
I actually really love the Nids book. Talking to Davey, we'd play a few games and he would have completely different archetype, completely different units. I'm like, this looks amazing to play, because one week you could be playing stat check, the other week you could be playing fast combat. It looks like they've just really nailed the different high fleets you could take. So I know they were always kind of midding, but they were always there.
No, completely. And they've won loads of events. They've had plenty of success in that sense. So I think I wouldn't worry about it at all. And Orcs have lots of character and lots of flavour. and they always have big spikes in and out of relevance in editions. That's just what orcs are.
That's always how they've been.
That's always the ride. So you know what you're getting when you sign up to orcs, right? Logan's got more. I'm shouting out Logan more because I feel bad for slagging off esports in a really generic and cruel fashion. He says the hidden danger about money in the ecosystem is that the IP owner clamping down on independent event organisation and everything becoming centralised such that the community does not have a choice. Yeah, that is also the risk with this, right? And we're in a sort of formative ecosystem here where there's lots of individual, local level entrepreneurial kind of activity. And that, again, that's great. It's creative, it's giving, it's serving. You don't want it to become too big and strong and streamlined and extractive, because that's not healthy, right? You need all it's always going to be about what people put on locally to them, and there's lots of opportunities with that, and it should always be about the joy of it first, right? Rather than the money always being the primary motive. I don't think that's the way to live your life, really. But that should be pretty obvious to me anyway. Big old Jim says, can we get rid of weird niche rules like being selected to fight when fighting on death? Oh, interesting there, Slot. You can't do your strats and stuff. That's interesting, that one. Interesting.
Or having a defiler that can only do a counter charge if you've been set up within 12 inches in their movement phase.
I forgot about that. That was sick, that.
It's such a cool little niche rule that I'm going to look forward to everyone complaining about for the next 2 months.
Oh, and it goes through walls. Oh.
Yes, it goes through walls. The new models look amazing, but like I don't have the time, money, or patience to buy and build defilers in my life right now. I just can't.
I just imagine you on next Tuesday's show with a defiler half
I would I can handle one dwarf character, John. I can't handle a defiler right now. That's too much. That's too much in my life. Another topless hammer wielding man.
What about a little dog?
Oh, cutie. Yeah.
Can't wait for them to announce a new Bjorn tomorrow night. It's gonna be
great. Almost certainly.
Fuck's
sake. Space Bugs. Another question. What do you call the process of painting the edge of your bases or the rim? I just had to explain to my missus that I had just finished rimming a full squad of commandos, and she seemed a little shocked, to say the least. Maybe a new word for it. I mean, you walked into that one, Space Bug.
I intentionally call it rimming because I just love talking about how I just need to quickly do a bit of rimming. I just love it because it's like when people say I'm gonna just slap you on with my mega knob, and the people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, and then I'm gonna whip out my big chopper. It's just funny to be able to say these stupid things because that's what this game is. We're playing toy soldiers.
It's a very silly game. Lean into it, yeah, for sure.
Do a quick rim job.
Gaming says they need to make Imperial Fist. So Salamander's Imperial Fist, Crimson Fist would be fun to have back. Flesh Tearers would be fun to have back. There's lots of little niche chapters I'd like some fun stuff for. And their characters, Pedro Cantor, Gabriel.
Cantor's still there, right?
It's missing, right? That's what they do.
I'd like to see some more of that. And it's just finding ways to carve out design space for all of them, isn't it? It's hard when different armies have covered different things in that sense. All right, the chat's descending into Space Bugs. You knew what this was. You knew what you did. Logan's on my side here. Gabriel Seth. We agree on many things, Logan. I'm so sorry. What are we moving?
We're on down now.
Balu asks, what are your initial thoughts on the Knight Destria? What did I say in our chat when that thing landed? I took one look at the size of it, and I was like, I am afraid that they're going to be able to put more big knights into a list than they should. That's my one concern at this moment in time. I don't know where we're going to land in terms of points and viability, but like mid-sized knight just gets them that little bit closer to like 6 big ones again, or like 3 big ones and then like 10 little ones, and then like, oh god.
And again, it's got the super heavy, so it can go through walls.
Yeah.
Can't Overwatch cool. Though. Like in principle, it's cool.
Yeah.
Knights now, I'm just always instinctively worried when they start doing anything with knights. Because
what's the difference between T10 and T11? It's fucking nothing. Like most anti-tank, that means absolutely nothing as well. If it's that much cheaper,
yeah, for sure. Got another question from Adam, which is, are you missing a podcast host for this episode? Yeah, Adam was going to be on the show. I forgot to send him a link. Sorry, Adam, about that. You'll be on the show in the future. So I'm sure you had lots of lovely thoughts. Do let us know in the chat what you would have done or liked to have in 11th edition if you want as well. Chris M wants railguns, no longer wound on 2s. Now we like railguns.
No, that's the difference between 10 and 11, I believe.
Very good.
Smart cookie there.
Very good. That's a smart little comment there. And from my end, that might be us. I think we've covered what we were planning to cover. It's been really interesting. Kivo, Rob, any concluding thoughts?
I'm just excited for change. Bring on 11.
Yeah, me
just get everything.
So one last question for both of you. What are you expecting to see on the Adepticon preview tomorrow night? Generally, what are you expecting?
Freebies in the starter box, right?
GSC limo. Let's go. Let's bring that limo back. That sounds good.
No.
I have no idea.
I'll give you the boring answer.
Go on.
We're gonna get a CGI trailer that shows everything that's in the launch box, because that's what they've done for the last 3 or 4 flipping big releases, where it's like, here's a thing, it beats this thing, but then that thing's big friend comes and kills the other thing. Like they did with it's like, oh, this lovely librarian's going to be on the tabletop, never. But here's a nice moment of him blowing up a Carnifex that you'll never see, and then the bigger fish comes. That's what we'll see.
Yeah,
it'll be really cool.
That would be cool. I've still got some factions who haven't had like an end of edition thing, so I want to see that. I want like a
Space Wolves. Where's my Space Wolves?
Karandras would be cool. Something to see anything.
3-win character.
Yeah, a 3-1 character who looks awesome and does nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know what they're going to do? They're going to do a Blood Angels character with a damage 3 sword just to shut them all up. And his name's Corbolo.
Attack, but it's damage 3. He's ready to
Corbolo.
Well, there you go. Shut up. That feels like we're attacking Logan even more, which is harsh. All right. It's been amazing having you all here. We'll be back again very soon. Thanks so much for all your lovely comments and for tuning in. You're all amazing. And we'll see you again very soon. Esports is awesome. I don't know enough about it. Bye. Bye now.
Quick,
John.